Hey everyone, my name is Jay Harris from Strictly Hip Hop, and you're about to learn more about me right here on the Audio Infusion Green Room Sessions. It was always my dream, well, I don't want to say always, but for a long time, it had been my dream to DJ on radio, whether it was commercial radio or public radio. I grew up listening to radio DJs. I have a fondness for radio DJs. When I was growing up, I had boxes of tapes that I recorded from the radio. The radio DJ really shaped, how I structure my mixes and, how I mix, stuff like that. So, commercial radio, it definitely, it's a little bit more boxed in, you're a little bit more limited. But I think that, there's a space that could be carved out for somebody like me on commercial radio if I had the opportunity. So, wink, wink to anybody who's able to give me that opportunity. But, with that being said, I love DJing on WEAA. There's a lot of freedom here. I think that DJing on public radio has, really, it allows us to play a lot of stuff that, you probably can't get away with on commercial radio. So there's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of latitude here. So as much as I'd love to DJ on commercial radio, and who knows, maybe one day I'll have that opportunity, I love the opportunity that I have here now at EAA. So it is what it is. So I had been invited to the Strictly Hip Hop anniversary show a couple times to DJ. And the second time that I came up there, DJ Titan was there. So after I got done with my segment, Titan talked to Vegas and was like, yo, you need to get this dude on the air. Like, you need to get him to be a part of the show permanently. And, Titan put that good word in for me, and, Vegas heard it. He, saw what I could do over the course of those couple of anniversary shows, and, the rest is history. So shout out to Titan, shout out to Vegas. I owe both of those guys a lot of credit for me being up here. I like mixing on the marathons because it opens me up. So I think that, a lot of people tend to see me as no pun intended, but strictly a hip hop DJ. And I think that, mixing on the marathons, first of all, it's an exercise for me because it's allowing me to pull a lot of other things out of my library. I'm playing, some reggae, some R&B, some throwback hip hop, but I'm playing it all in one session. So to jump from genre to genre in one mix, it's kind of an exercise. It stretches me out, but I think that, it also demonstrates that, no, I'm not just a hip hop DJ. There's certainly other genres that I like to listen to. There's other genres that I like to DJ, and, I certainly love to be open format. And, those mix marathons for me, first of all, I'm, appreciative for the opportunity. And the other thing is, there's so many other great DJs that DJ on those mix marathons that aren't on the other stations. So it's me and it's a bunch of other people, really going outside of our genres and doing different things. And so that's dope. So, I'm 40. Maybe I don't look it. I have kind of a baby face, but I'm 40 years old. When my parents were 40 and they listened to the stuff that I was listening to at that time, they were just like, what the hell? They couldn't relate to it. So as a 40-year-old, it's understandable that I'm not going to relate to everything that's new. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like some of the new hip hop. It's just because I can't relate to it. I didn't come up with it. It's not like I'm a kid in high school and everybody around me is listening to this. So there's no social element there. And I came up in a different era, you know. The rap that I'm used to listening to, that I like, that I grew up with, is from the 80s into the 90s into the early 2000s. You know, this was me coming of age, you know, through the late 80s with, you know, KRS-One, Public Enemy, Run DMC, you know, into the 90s, Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, The Lox, all of that. So that is a completely different sound than what's out now. And I can respect that this is not my coming of age material, this new hip hop. And I understand why I can't relate to it. And, you know, I have a different standard for what rap should be. I think that rap should be, you know, there should be lyricism. There should be a big emphasis on lyricism. That's what rap's all about. You know, it kind of reminds me of, you know, LL versus Cannabis. And it's funny because people still debate about this to this day. Who won between LL and Cannabis? And to me, Cannabis won hands down. He won based on lyricism. It wasn't a popularity contest back then. LL was, you know, he was the GOAT that, you know, people called him at the time. But, you know, Cannabis was up and coming. He was hungry and he had lyricism. And to me, lyricism is what really matters. That's what hip hop is all about. And you do have some guys, some new cats that can rap. I can't name names because I'm not good at, you know, keeping up with who the current names are. But look, I've gotten to a point where I can even tolerate Drake a little bit. So there you go. You know, it's not all bad. And I realize that, you know, a lot of this is because I've grown out of certain things, and this isn't my era. You know, this is the era for younger people that are, you know, maybe 25 and younger, and that's not me anymore. So that's my answer. So, you know, as a turntablist, I'm always gonna want to see turntablism. You know, I think that seeing a pair of turntables by themselves are sexy. Being, you know, seeing the turntables being manipulated, seeing a guy just go through patterns and really working the turntables and the mixer, that's entertainment to me. So the blend culture for me kind of falls flat in that regard, because if you just put a video on mute and you watch a blend video, you're just watching a guy stand there. You're watching a guy stand there and maybe mess with the pitch, maybe float one of the turntables, one of the decks. And that's really all you're getting. I respect the creativity. You know, I respect blending because it is part of the DJ culture. You know, like it or hate it, it is what it is. As a turntablist though, you know, I just want to see more. And actually, let me not even call myself a turntablist. As a fan of turntablism, I always want to see more. I always want to see a person, you know, really putting in the effort to manipulate records and, you know, come up with patterns, whether it's scratch patterns or juggle patterns, like really playing around with two records and seeing what they can do. Now, you know, I've been to the blend battles. I think that there's, you know, a lot of creative stuff that comes out of those. And I think there's a lot of creative stuff that comes out of a person, you know, blending an acapella with an instrumental. You know, you never know what you're going to be able to come up with. You never know what you're going to hear. And so in that regard, I have to respect it. But again, you know, I'm also looking for the action, you know, and I think that the action is in the person who's really thinking through, you know, their scratch patterns, their juggle patterns, and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. So, you know, as a fan of turntablism, you know, I'm always gonna look for that. You know, I know there's a lot of blend DJs out there. There's a lot of blend DJs in Baltimore. Baltimore has become one of the premier cities that, you know, anybody from Baltimore that travels to Philly, to New York, that battles, they're coming home with the trophy. So, you know, shout out to Tim Nice and you know, K Swift and those guys who've really kind of, you know, they've been kind of, you know, holding the torch for Baltimore. And, you know, I think that they've ushered in a lot of other DJs, you know, into the blend culture. But I'm always gonna ride for turntablism, and you know, in that regard, it is what it is. I make no apologies about that. So my future plans are really to just, you know, practice, grow, evolve, and, you know, just continue to get better as a DJ. I mean, you know, I'd love to say that my future plans would be to pack a stadium, but at this point, that's probably not going to happen. You know, my future plans is to continue to try to do this art as much justice as I can. I mean, for me, you know, DJing is not what I do. It's really a part of who I am. You know, I've always wanted to be a DJ. I've always loved the culture, and, you know, I think that the future for me is, you know, just continuing to do the art justice, and, you know, continuing to, you know, try to embody what I believe DJing is all about. Man, so there's so many people to thank. You know, first and foremost, I'd like to thank my wife, who has been extremely supportive of me. She's very patient. You know, she's always encouraging me, whether it's, you know, buying equipment or practicing, and, you know, making sure that I'm kind of carving out that time for myself to, you know, spend behind the turntables, because she knows that it's therapeutic for me. So thank you to her. Shout out to my wife, Yanka. She knows that I love her, and, you know, all of that good stuff. And for the DJs, there are so many DJs to thank. I mean, you know, I'm thankful for Titan, because look, without Titan, I wouldn't be here at the station right now. Shout out to Vegas. You know, thank you to Vegas for the opportunity as well. Shout out to DJ Uno, because DJ Uno got me into the Baltimore DJ zone, where I was able to, you know, meet all of these other DJs, all of the DJs that I've been hearing on the radio, from Kenny K to KW Griff to James the Great, you know, so many people, DJ Jamal. I mean, there are so many people in the Baltimore DJ community to thank. Excel, Harvey Dent, Alpha, Miles. I mean, all of the people that have contributed to Strictly Hip Hop and, you know, kept this show going. The show has been on for 33 years now, 33 years, I believe. And, you know, that effort is not without those people who are in the background, who are, you know, doing the mixes, you know, making sure that, you know, we have mixes on air and stuff like that. So shout out to all those guys. Shout out to Axe. I gotta shout out my man Axe. You know, he's done a lot for me music wise, you know, sharing music, always being open. I don't, you know, talk him up enough, but, you know, he's one of the guys in the background. And there's so many unsung heroes that you don't hear about, and there's so many people that I'd love to name, but, you know, I know I'm forgetting people. So there's a lot of people to thank, and I'm just gonna thank the entire Baltimore DJ community, because I think that everybody that I've met at one point or another, K Swift, that's another one, you know, he's got me started with gigs, stuff like that. So many people have either shared gigs or shared music, or, you know, just shared advice, you know, shared their homes. You know, there's just a lot of love in the Baltimore DJ community. So shout out to all of the people that I forgot.
Thanks for watching. Hi, this is Sherry with the Audio Infusion. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can be notified when new videos arrive.